Okay, it's 8 o'clock, so we will get started. Welcome to Wednesday morning Bhakti Yoga Flow. So go ahead and take a comfortable seat. While I'm thinking of it, I'll tell you I have my blocks handy and a strap. We will be doing some work on our hands and knees as well, but it'll be more flowing. So probably to have a blanket to pad your knees. The blanket might just get in the way, but certainly if you need it, use it. So let's go ahead and just begin to bring all of our awareness inward, simply setting aside all the concerns and cares of the day for just a little while, giving yourself this hour to practice, to develop your inner life, which is so important and so neglected in our culture today. So let's just take a few breaths, simply noticing the breath coming in through the nostrils, soft belly changing shapes, chest expanding in all directions, front, back, side to side, up and down, fullness of breath in the body, and then allow the breath to flow out. Chest falls, navel draws back towards spine, pressing all of the breath out. And then the breath flows in again. Through the darkness into light, we behold the gift of peace. So let's bring the hands to the heart. And then inhale, just stretch the arms up overhead. Circle the body with your arms and your hands, and then bring the hands back to the center, back to the heart. And so let's just a few repetitions, just flowing to this lovely music. It's called Loving Kindness by Ashana. Loving kindness for all beings. From the one beyond the stars, through the darkness into light, we behold the gift of peace. And then just breathe that in, loving kindness. Alrighty. So let's go ahead and begin our asana practice, coming up onto hands and knees. And let's just inhale and sway and exhale and round. And so you know this, on your hands and knees, just play through these movements, allowing it to be deep and full. Not only the breath, but the movement, deep and full. Make it your own. And then go ahead and bring your spine to a neutral position. Step the knees apart, toes together. And then just press back, hips moving back towards heels. And simply allow the heart to bow down. A few more full breaths here, with each in-breath creating more space in the body. And with the exhale, releasing any tension or tightness that you might be holding, particularly in your chest and shoulders, your neck, your low back and your hips. Breathing and noticing, using gravity, sinking towards the earth, using the support of the great Mother Earth beneath you, releasing, giving yourself this moment to breathe in loving kindness for yourself and for all sentient beings. And then up onto your hands and knees. Let's curl the toes under and then just press the knees up about a half an inch, a quarter of an inch, as little as you can lift them. Engage your core. Pay attention to your wrists, so you're lifting up out of the wrists. Engaging core, activating your musculature. Breathing and noticing. And then set the knees down. One more time. Inhale and sway. Exhale and round. Bring the spine neutral. Lift the knees a quarter of an inch. Core, engage core. Drawing navel back towards spine. Strengthening that line of energy from the pubic bone to the lower ribs. Breathe. Set the knees down. Inhale and sway. Exhale and round. And then one more time, neutral spine. Toes are curled under, okay? Lift the knees a tad, just a half, quarter inch, not much. Just enough so that you're bearing the weight in your core, strengthening core. And then go ahead and press up to downward facing dog. So if downward facing dog ever felt like a challenge, it feels a lot easier after that little prelude. So exploring your dog pose. Notice if you can equalize the effort and energy so that the legs are working just as hard as the arms. Hips engaged. So pressing tops of the leg bones up towards the sky, even as you tuck the tailbone. So it's an intricate movement, but sometimes the verbal cues allow it to happen. Not always, sometimes. Press into the palms of the hands. Squeeze the shoulder blades together on the back body so that you're really lengthening from the shoulder blades to the palms of the hands. And the head is either in a neutral alignment or you can look towards your navel, whichever feels like the best position for you. Breathe, really enliven the back body. You can move your legs a little bit as you need to. We're just going to stay here for one more breath. And then let's go ahead and walk the feet up to meet the hands in a forward fold. So notice your feet hip bone width apart, knees and hip bones tracking in line, head hangs. And then place your hands on your hips. Squeeze the shoulder blades together on the back. Press the elbows towards each other. Engage your core and lift out. So your Torso is parallel to the floor. Spine is neutral. And then go ahead and come all the way up to standing. Inhale, stretch up. Engage your hands into temple pose. Press the palms together if you can, as you also lengthen all the way from the soles of the feet to the tips of the fingers. Remember all of those subtle details of mountain pose, and breathe. Bring the hands to the heart. Take a breath. So we're going to do 2 repetitions of traditional sun salutations with minimal instruction, because we've been doing this and you have the video available of lots of sun salutations that we've done together so far. And so focusing on the breath, focusing on the music if you can hear it. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, back. Inhale, up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, hands down, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, step the right leg back. Lunge. Your choice, any lunge. Left leg back to meet the right. Set knees, chest and chin. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, back, dog. Inhale, right foot up between the hands, lunge. Left foot up to meet the right, forward fold. Hands to hips, lengthen out. Come all the way up, arms overhead, exhale back. Inhale up, hands to the heart. Deep breath. Inhale up, exhale back. Inhale up, hands to the heart, fold. Half lift, fold. Left leg back, lunge. Right leg back, plank. Set knees, chest and chin. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, back to dog. Left foot up in between the hands, lunge. Right leg up to meet the left. Fold. Hands on the hips, lengthening out. Come all the way up. Arms overhead, exhale back. Hands to the heart, nice deep breath. All right, so now we're going to change it up a little bit. We're going to do a series of poses where dog pose is the transition. So we'll be moving in and out of dog pose, and then we'll be opening out to the long edge of the mat to do some moon type poses. So let's inhale, stretch up. Exhale, back. Inhale up, hands to the heart. Fold forward. Hands down. And let's step back to dog pose. Now, once we're in dog pose, shift the weight to the left foot and raise the right leg. So three-legged dog. So really lift that right leg as you press into the hands, opening the shoulders. Breathe and notice, lifting that leg just as high as you can, keeping the hip square forward. So flexing the foot helps to keep the hip square forward instead of rolling out. And then bring the knee towards the chest and set the foot down. And then change sides. So lift left leg. Lifting that leg just as high as you can, keeping the hip square forward. So you're not, there's no turnout here. Breathe and notice. Breathe and notice. And the knee to the chest and down. Okay, just walk it out a little bit. And what we're going to do next is bring that right foot in between the hands, and then we're going to pivot. So the right foot's going to stay pointing towards the short edge of the mat. We're going to open the left leg so that the foot is parallel to the short edge of the mat. And here we are. Take the arms out into warrior pose. Just breathe and notice. Find your strongest, deepest warrior pose and breathe. And then go ahead and square that foot. Hands to the hips, fold forward. Hands to the floor beneath your shoulders or to your block. Just breathe, notice, lengthen. And then bending the elbows, keep moving into a deeper forward fold, keeping the spine neutral. And then press back up halfway, neutral spine, hands to the hips, come all the way up to standing. And then move into warrior two on the other side. Breathe and notice. Breathe and discover your strongest, deepest warrior, Virabhadrasana 2, available to you in this moment. It may be different than your warrior 2 yesterday, different than your warrior 2 tomorrow. And then just bring that arm around, right arm around and over, set the hands in line with your feet as that back leg pivots, okay, into this lunge here. And then what we can do is set the right knee down and lengthen through the spine. Breathe and notice. And then let's go ahead and straighten the leg. And then we're going to take this left foot back to meet the right. And here we are once again in a dog pose. Breathe and notice. All right, so let's take the left foot up again, and then we're going to pivot, just coming back around into this warrior 2 variation, but we're not going to stay here. We're going to move along into an extended side angle. So begin by setting your elbow on your thigh. Remember that we want to keep the heart open in this pose. We don't want to collapse down. We want to create as much space in our body as we can. So having my hand on my low back with the fingers wrapping around the pelvic bone helps me to keep things set up strong in an alignment. Now, you can set your hand on your block if you want a deeper stretch, okay? So breathing, opening, breathing and opening, taking plenty of time in this part of the pose, drawing everything in towards center, front heel tracking towards back instep and vice versa. And then from here, let's just take this arm up like letter T. Okay, so we're just gonna open here, squeezing those shoulder blades together on the back so it's nice and strong. And then set the hand to the hip. And now we're gonna come up, straighten the leg, square that foot. hinge forward, lengthening. Hands down in line with your shoulders. Let's take the left hand to the hip again, twist from the waist, and then extend that left arm up and breathe. Hand to the hip, chest towards the floor. I'm looking towards the floor. And then right hand to right hip, and then open in the other direction. Breathe and notice. And then hand to the hip, orienting yourself, looking towards the floor. Hands to the hips, come all the way up. And then let's go ahead and open out that right leg into the warrior two stance. And then hand to the hip, right elbow to right thigh, setting this up. So everything is strong, tracking front heel towards back and step towards front heel, opening across the chest, across the heart, moving deeper. And then if you want to take it deeper yet, you can take your hand to the block. The block is on the outside of the foot. And then just take that left arm up. Breathe and notice. And then hand to the hip. Let's go ahead and just bring the arm over in line with the foot, shifting the pelvis so that we're in a lunge now on the other side of the mat. And so now we can equalize it because we did a lunge with the left leg leading. So now we can finish that up with a lunge with the right side leading. So just lunging in whatever fashion your body wants to create a lunge this morning, setting it up safely and in alignment. And then from here, let's go ahead and step it forward. So both feet are at the short edge of the mat. Hang over for just a moment and breathe. And then hands to the hip. Lift it all the way up. Nice deep breath. Inhale, stretch arms overhead. Palms forward. Hold on to the left wrist with the right hand, lifting up and over. Open stretch. And then inhale back to center. Holding on to the right wrist with the left hand, lifting it up and over. And then inhale up, hands to the heart, deep breath. And so let's move along. We're gonna move back to dog pose and we're gonna do some leg lifts, but this time we're gonna do them with open hips. Okay, last time I said don't turn out your hips. This time we're gonna turn out our hips. So inhale, stretch up, lift, lengthen, exhale back. Inhale up, hands to the heart, hinge forward. Hands in line with your feet. Step your feet back into dog pose. Nice deep breath. Now know that this is your practice. If it ever gets to be a little bit too intense, if it requires more muscular strength than you have, feel free to adapt the poses or even come out if you need to and just watch. We learn by watching, okay? Don't overdo it, don't hurt yourself. So let's shift the weight to the left foot. We're gonna extend the right leg up in the sky. And then we're gonna point the toe, okay? We really wanna stay connected from the left foot to the left hip because that's a supporting feature. Keep the arm strong and try to keep the weight balanced on each arm as we bend the right knee and begin to reach that foot towards the floor on the opposite side. Okay, but at the same time, you're lifting with that knee, okay? You're lifting up and reaching that foot around and behind you. Breathe and notice. You can look towards the right arm, the right armpit. Breathe. and then bring it back around. Notice what it feels like when you set your hips back in alignment, and then bring that knee to the chest and set it down. Okay, same thing other side. Now if holding dog pose this long is difficult for you, you can set your knees down, do a few cat-cows, and then join back in, okay? So weight to the right foot, extend that left leg up as high as it'll go, and breathe. And then point the toe, bend the knee, okay, and take the foot over and behind you. You can look to the left armpit. Breathe. Keep that right leg really strong. So really pressing all the way from the foot to the hip. Plugging the top of that right leg into the hip socket. And that hip is stable. Okay, the other hip is opening. And you're breathing. And then go ahead and bring it back neutral. So bring the knee back in line, and then take the knee towards your chest, and then set it down. Nice deep breath. So let's go ahead and set the knees down. We're gonna just take a little break. That was something that I have not done with you before. You may have done that in your own practice, some variation of it. And then extend the arms. Allow the forehead to rest down. Take a nice deep breath. Notice sensation in your hips. All right, then come up onto your hands and knees. Dog pose. And then let's take that right foot forward. Transitioning, we're just going to transition directly to extended side angle. Okay, so front knee is bent, hand is on the block, and the block can be as high as it needs to be. Okay, you can take it to the highest level to create a lot of opening, okay, across the chest through the heart. And then we're going to just extend this left arm up the torso and extend it all the way, so you create a nice line from the back heel, through the side body, through the arm, all the way up to the fingertips, really extending. Notice what you feel and where you feel it. And then hand to the hip, and then pressing all the way up, turn that foot forward. We're going to hinge again, forward folding. Setting the hands down. Now this time, bend the elbows and hinge as deeply as you can. If you need to allow the back to fold over, that's fine. There's no pressure or strain here, so you can let the back round. Head hangs. And then set your hands in line with your feet, okay? Underneath your chest, underneath your shoulders, okay? So just see what it feels like. Explore this variation. And then press the palms down if you can. See if you can press the palms down in line with the feet as much as you can bring them back that far. And then what we're going to do is lift out to your point of neutral alignment through the spine. Breathe and notice. You may need to use your blocks here. This may not work for you, but it's a really amazing pose to play with, and it's fairly accessible. You can always use blocks under your hands if you need to. Okay, and then you might have to walk your feet in just a tad, because you know the legs really open here, and we want to make sure that we have enough strength to move back to standing. Okay, so we don't want to hurt our knees. So take the feet to a safe position so that you feel strong and in alignment. Put your hands on your hips and come all the way up. All right, turn that left foot out And just go ahead and move into extended side angle. So hand on the block in line with that front shin. This back leg, remember, turned in a little bit, internally rotated a little bit, hip opening, okay? Extend arm, voila. Extended side angle. Breathe and notice. And then go ahead and continue to rotate down with the hand. Okay, and so here we are in a lunge on this side. Let's go ahead and set down that knee. Grab your block and let's explore this lunge. So just using the block if you need to for a little bit of support. So knee down, we're gonna lift it up. So we're gonna lift the torso up in this lunge. Left knee directly over the left foot, back foot turned under. Let's go ahead and straighten the leg. So that's why you might need the block, just to something to reach down to without having to reach all the way down to the floor if you begin to falter. Okay, breathe and notice. Take arms up overhead, lift and lengthen. And then hands to the hips, set the knee down. Alrighty. And then hands down in line with your foot. Okay, so forward folding this lunge now. Forward folding over that left thigh. And then let's go ahead and press back to dog pose once again. So pressing into hands, pressing into feet, and breathing. And then from here, we're going to step that left foot forward again. Okay, rotating the feet and coming up to warrior two. And breathe. Okay, so transition point. We can decide what we want to do next. So in your own practice, you know, all of these open leg stretches are at your disposal. What we're going to do now, though, is to move into triangle. So I like to use my block for triangle. I think it's important when we practice triangle to keep it lateral, okay, in our stretching, and not to cheat and come over here. Okay, this is not what you're looking for in triangle, in my opinion. Okay, you lose a lot of the benefit. So arms out like letter T. That left foot is pointing towards the short edge of the mat. The back foot is turned in slightly, okay, with the foot parallel to the short end of the mat. And then we're gonna reach, okay, to the left. We're laterally stretching the right side of the body. We're reaching as far as we can. And then we're gonna set the hand down on the block, okay? Or to the floor if you honestly reach there. Okay, you have to be really, really flexible and strong to be able to pull that off. So hand to the hip, keeping everything, okay, pelvis looking towards the long edge of the mat, belly looking toward the long edge of the mat, if anything, lifting up to the sky. So you're actually rolling the belly up, preventing it from rolling down. And then go ahead and extend that right arm so that the arms are like letter T. You are using your hand on the block in a teacup. Okay, so you're not using this left arm and hand and wrist to support the whole pose. It is core strength. Breathe and notice. And then let's bring the hand to the hip, come all the way up, square that foot forward. Nice deep breath. So we're gonna forego the forward stretch here, the forward fold, and we're just gonna move directly to triangle on the other side. So turn the right foot out, left foot in a little bit, take the arms out like letter T, and then begin to reach, reach, reach to the right. And you can do repetitions of this warming up, reaching, reaching, reaching. So there's 3 phases to every yoga asana, okay? There's the setting it up, okay, moving into it. Go ahead and set the hand down to the block. Make sure as we enter the pose, the second phase is being in the pose, okay? And there's a lot of activity. These poses are not stagnant. They are dynamic. Dynamic in the stillness. And then when you're ready, extend that left arm up. Breathe. And then hand to the hip. And to release, let's go ahead and bend that front knee and then just fold all the way around. So we're hinging at the hip one more time, lunging. So set the knee down and deepen the lunge. So we're forward folding over this right thigh, all right? And then we're gonna set it up differently so that we are lifting up out of the pelvis, and then you can straighten that back leg maybe. So going into it a little differently than we did on the other side. So breathing and noticing, go ahead and stretch the arms up overhead. And then hands to your hips, fold forward, set the fingers down, and go ahead and step that left foot up to meet the right. Breathe and notice. Head hangs. And from here, hands to your hips, lengthen out. Come all the way up. Arms up overhead, lift and lengthen, and then interlace your fingers, set the back of your head into this pillow that you have created. Press into the feet, shins in, thighs spiraling out, buttocks engaged, connecting pubic bone in the front to the lower ribs. And noticing your alignment, feet, pelvis, chest, head. And then squeeze the shoulder blades together on the back. Keep the hips squeezing in towards center so that the low back is protected. And then we're gonna lift up out of the low back from the level of the lower ribs. We're gonna begin a backward bend, supported, okay, with your feet and your hands. Breathe. With each inhalation, create more space. And then with each exhalation, allow yourself to move more deeply into the stretch. Keep your eyes open. And then lifting, returning to center. Extend the arms overhead, palms facing forward. Connect the palms into the shoulder blades. Align the spine so that the low back is not excessively swayed. Hold on to the left wrist with the right hand, lift up and over, and breathe. Back to center, palms forward. Hold on to the right wrist with the left hand. Open stretch. And then back to center. Hands to the heart. Nice deep breath. All right. So let's go ahead and move to the floor. And what we're going to do is come into a seated position. Grab your block and have your strap handy. I'm not sure if we're going to use it or not. So this is what we're going to do is go ahead and sit down and sit on your block, okay? Sit on your block so that your hips are elevated. And so what we're going to do is just extend the legs out in front of you so you can get a feel for what it feels like to sit with your legs, with your hips elevated. So what we're going to do next is take the right foot and bring it around to the left hip, okay? And the idea is to get this knee at the midline, okay? So the right knee is at the midline, and continue to be sure that you're even on both sits bones. And then what we're going to do is bend the left knee and try to get the left knee in line with the right knee. And so you can play with the positioning of the feet, okay, as you need to find this pose. Okay, now, once you're here, if you need to slide off your block, then do, okay? So, you know, this is a pretty tricky pose, and sometimes having the seat elevated on a block or on a pillow is helpful. So what we want here is for the knees to be in line as much as possible, and then also for the feet to be symmetrical. Notice how I really pulled my feet out so that I can have my sits bones evenly planted on the floor. So this is a great pose for counter stretching after all of that wide open leg and hip variation that we did. So here we are. We're going to grab our strap now, and we're going to put the strap in the right hand with a loop. Okay, so there's a loop, and we're going to extend that arm all the way up, and then we're going to bend at the elbow. Okay, and we're going to try to bring the elbow in towards the midline as well. Okay, so we want to snuggle everything up as much as possible towards the midline. And then we're going to take that left arm down and around behind us, and we're going to hold on in that loop. Okay, so here we are using our body to help us to strengthen and stretch. So again, the hands are in line with each other at the center. So my right hand is all the way up to the level of my head. Okay, my left hand is reaching up. It goes about between the shoulder blades. So, you know, eventually, and some people who don't have a lot of tensile strength in their ligaments can easily do this. But sometimes they do it at their peril, because without engaging the muscular integrity, then we can really hurt joints in yoga. So, so be cautious. You know, if you can pop right into this pose, holding your hands instead of the strap, then you have to be really careful not to overstretch your ligaments and tendons. That's where injury occurs. So breathe and notice, lift and lengthen. So in other words, you know, if you're not as flexible as your yoga friends, it's not a bad thing, okay? It's all good. We're all different. We all have our strengths and we all have our individuality. So go ahead and release. Nice deep breath, just kind of noticing. Go ahead and release the legs as well, just straightening them out. And then to move into it, you can use the block or not, okay? I'm going to use the block as an exploration. It's a little bit hard for sure, but it's okay for what we're using it for. Now comes the really hard part for me, remembering which side we did already. So whichever leg you did not do, okay, I think it's the left, but I could be wrong. Bring the left leg around to the right hip and then cross that. Cross the other leg over. All right, so then set up your legs so that the knees are in alignment. All right, and then just finding it here. You may want to stay here. That would be fine. In fact, I think I'm going to on this side. Okay, so I'm going to take the strap into my left hand with the loop, raise it up overhead, and then bend the elbow. And I like to hold on to my elbow to really get, I'm working on connecting into that shoulder blade and lengthening from the shoulder blade to the elbow, bringing the elbow as close towards midline as it will go, and then reach my other arm around and down, holding on to the strap, holding on to the loop. So just getting my hands into that loop, and then I can lift with the upper arm, and I can pull down with the lower arm. And so breathe and notice. What's probably most important is that you keep your head on straight. Okay, so keep your head in alignment. Don't let it be knocked off balance or out of alignment with what you're doing with the arms. And so breathe and notice. And then go ahead and release. Come all the way out of it. And extend both legs out in front. Let's go ahead and grab our strap now and take the strap around the feet. So set the feet so that they're hip bone width apart. Set the arms so that the elbows are bent. And you can really plug the tops of the arms into the shoulder socket, squeezing the shoulders together on the back body so that you're sitting up nice and tall and breathing. Just lift, lengthen, and breathe. Breathe. Heaven is here where the mind is clear. Illuminate the path, draw the mind back. All right, so let's go ahead and release. And let's move down onto our backs. Keep your strap handy. And we're gonna do some open leg stretches on our back. So you might want to just set your mat so that you have room to open your leg out to either side. All right, so have your blocks handy as well, because we're going to finish the sequence with a supported bridge pose. So onto your backs. let's go ahead and take the strap and put it around the right foot. Okay, so the left knee is still bent, left foot supporting us. Okay, left foot on the floor close to the buttocks. And now the right leg is perpendicular to the floor. So you're really plugging the top of the leg bone into the hip socket. Now, if your leg doesn't go perpendicular, that's okay. If it's a little bit closer to the floor, okay, then a 90-degree angle, that is fine. Okay, that's where you are and that's where you work. And it's very effective, okay? But what I don't want is for you to try to take the leg closer to your chest, because that's not what we're working on, okay? We are working on the integrity of the femur into the acetabulum and the relationship to the sacrum and the lumbar spine. So really notice the sacrum, the whole sacrum pressing down. Notice the shoulder blades, the scapula pressing down. And so you can use your arms as leverage. So the arms bent, holding onto the strap, helps to ground the pose into the shoulder blades, okay? And then really press down the back of your head. Think of your eyeballs looking down and melting down towards the earth. That'll help keep your spine in alignment. And that, in fact, is the most important aspect of yoga. And this is a great place to explore it. So what we do now that we have the leg set, the right leg set, is we can slowly begin to extend that left leg, okay? Allowing nothing else to shift out of alignment. So you have to really squeeze the buttocks together, okay? You have to really plug the top of the leg bone into the hip socket. You have to keep pressing down with your shoulders, and you have to keep your head in alignment. Now, once that left leg is extended, flex the foot, make it really strong as if you are standing on the wall. Okay, so this is the pose. Breathe and notice, okay? Now, from here, if you want to do more, hold on to the strap with the right hand, okay? Extending that arm, holding onto the strap as close to the foot as you can, but keep everything in alignment, maintaining lots of space, not scrunching up to make it feel like you're doing more. Take the left arm out like letter T, and then keeping everything stable, we're just gonna begin to open that right leg out. Okay, from the hip joint, taking it where it will go, being careful not to let that left side shift up or lift up off of the floor. And breathe. You can take that left arm out like letter T. It'll help provide a counterweight to what you're doing with the leg. So breathe and notice. And then go ahead and bring the leg back to center. And then one more time, just really stretching. And then bend the knee, set it down. Bend both knees, okay? Put the strap around the left, extend. Okay, so same thing, other side. A little bit short on time. We have about 5 more minutes. So, all right. So here we are. You know what to do. Once you feel really strong and secure in that left leg connecting into the left hip joint and the spine is neutral, go ahead and extend that right leg slowly, slowly, slowly not allowing anything to shift out of alignment. So if you can't get there with that right leg extended, if you start to have any pain in your low back, just bend the knee and do nothing more than this, okay? If everything's feeling good, then hold on to the strap with the left hand as close to the foot as you can. Really maintain the strength and integrity, and then begin to open that right leg out and breathe. And then when you're ready, go ahead and bring that leg back to center and breathe. And then go ahead and release, bend the knee, bend both knees, grab your block. Now just put the block under your hips in the lowest level. Okay, so it's time to integrate all that we have done with our practice today. And so lots of hip opening today. If you're going to continue your practice or practice again later on today, what I would work on at this point is back bending, because once the hips are open, it makes us it makes back bending a lot more accessible. And so, you know, if we had an hour and a half practice or a 2-hour practice, that's what we would do next. But we do not. Life is good. It's wonderful to be able to practice and to know that I am sharing my practice with other like-minded folks. So thank you, Constance, and thank you, Honeybee, and thank you to whoever else might have popped in during the class for being here with us today. So just breathe and release. And then when you're ready, go ahead and remove the block, set the hips down, extend the legs out onto the floor. Take your hands and just cradle your head, elbows reaching towards each other, lengthening the back of the neck, and then gently set the head down. Open the arms out like letter T. No, I'm sorry, not like letter T. Open the arms out so that they're just slightly out from the torso, and begin to notice your breath. Notice how your body feels. With each inhalation, create more space. With each exhalation, release tension. I invite you to stay here in this relaxed place for just as long as you are able to this morning. Thank you all so much. I am recording this, so I will post it hopefully later on today or tomorrow. I'll send you an email. Namaste.